Your 30s are a decade of decision, and what you do now will determine whether you retire 10 years earlier or you actually end up working until your knees give in. So this is the time where if you are not intentional when it comes to your money, you will see that these 10 years will vanish before your eyes, and before you know it, it has already been 10 years and you do not know what you have done with your life. When you enter your 30s, you are not starting from scratch. You are actually entering your 30s with some knowledge, some experience, some wins and some mistakes from your 20s, and sometimes you are coming in with a lot of mistakes, and that is okay. But the point is, you are not starting from scratch. You have a foundation that you have built in your 20s that you are coming in with some lessons and with some wins on your belt. The decade of your 30s is the time where you are changing from a person who earns and spends to a person who is building wealth and a person who is protecting their wealth. And in this video, we are going to talk about 7 money moves that if you make them today will help you stay on track regardless of your income level and regardless of where you find yourself in the world. And the bonus move at the end will actually make you wish you have done it much sooner. The first move that you want to make in your 30s is to audit your finances. When it comes to your money, you want to audit your finances because you cannot grow what you cannot measure. And you can only measure in terms of your money if you know where every dollar or every penny of your money is going. You can do this by having a budget. And you want to have a zero-based budget whereby you are giving every single dollar or every single rand of your money a job. You do not have money that is getting lost within your budget. Every dollar or every rand is allocated to a job. That is the first thing that you want to do when it comes to auditing your finances. The second thing is that your budget needs to reflect your values as an individual, especially your financial values. If you see from your spending that most of your money is going to shopping and takeout, that shows you that that is what you value. And for somebody in their 30s, you don't want to value useless things. You actually want your money to go to things that are building you and things that are helping you to get to a point where you are wealthy and where you are financially free. Then through your budget, you are able to track in terms of where your money is going. So you are tracking your spending, and this is an opportunity also for you to use that tracking to cut where you need to cut. So cut what you do not need, the things that are not necessities, and cut on certain things where you can actually get it for a better price or get it for a better rate, so that you are able to save some of the money from those different areas. And once you have done now this cutting, you can move those funds that you have now recouped from the different areas of your budget and put them towards your savings and your investments. For example, if you manage to cut off 1,500 per month and you actually manage to invest that over a 10-year period, by the time you are 40, if you are getting an 8% return on this money, you would have saved 274,000. And that is a good sizable amount for you to use as a down payment on your home or as a payment on your car, or maybe it can even be a cash of an entry-level car. You can use that money to fund your child's studies if you have kids. So it's a good amount of money that can really go towards something important, and that is coming from just cutting 1,500 within your budget for every month. If you are in need of a budget tracker, I have a zero-based budget template on my website that you can access for free. I will link it in the description below so that you can have access to it. The second money move that you want to make in your 30s is for you to have a fully funded emergency fund. We have spoken about emergency funds on this channel a number of times. The reason you want to have a fully funded emergency fund in your 30s is so that you can prevent a debt spiral in events when life happens to you. So if you lose your job today, if you have unplanned car repairs that comes up, if you have medical bills that are not covered by your current medical insurance, or maybe you don't even have medical insurance, if you have some family emergencies, this fully funded emergency fund can assist you when it comes to all of these things. So you don't end up having to take out credit with your bank, you don't have to do a personal loan, you don't have to go to loan sharks and cash loans and all these kinds of places where you are borrowing money in order to fix your financial emergencies. Now, Now with your emergency fund, you want to aim to have 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses, which is put aside as your emergency fund. So if your monthly expenses are 20,000 a month, then it means you will need to have between 60 to 120,000 set aside in a high yield savings account or in a money market fund that you can then allocate as your emergency fund, so that if life happens and things come up, you have that money put aside and you are able to solve your issues like a real adult, which is what you are in your 30s, and you do not need to take on credit or to bother your loved ones to come in and save you. The third money move you want to make in your 30s is to actually eliminate high interest debt. And you want to do this because high interest debt is a wealth killer. You cannot build wealth while you are busy giving away money in form of interest. If you really want to be wealthy, and I know most of us want to be wealthy, you have to behave like the wealthy. And believe me, wealthy people do not have high interest debt. Yes, they do have debt, but they avoid high interest debt like a plague. So you want to also get rid of your high interest debt. These are your store cards. It's your credit card amounts that you owe on your credit cards. It's your personal loans. It's your loan sharks or cash loans if you also go to those. So all these types of debt charges you high interest and you want to get rid of it as soon as possible. For instance, if you take out a loan of 50,000 and you are being charged 18% interest on this loan, each year you are actually giving away 9,000 of your money just for you to service that loan. So that is 9,000 that you are actually throwing away. So the sooner you can pay off that debt, the sooner you can have that 9,000 back in your pocket and you can channel it towards your savings, towards your investments, and towards your other money goals. For example, buying a home or buying a car or furthering your studies or whatever other important financial goals that you have for yourself. And if you need a credit tracker to assist you to track your lines of credit that you have taken out or your active credit lines, I also have a free credit tracker on my website that I will link in the description below so that you can have access to it if you are in need of a tracker. Like I always say on this channel, when it comes to paying off high interest debt, I would highly recommend one to consider the debt avalanche method. And this is the method whereby you are ranking all your loans or all your debt from highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate, and you start paying off from the highest, moving down until you are done with all your loans. However, you also have the option of the snowball method, especially if you are somebody who is motivated by small wins and you want to tick off one thing quickly and move on to the next one. You can consider using the snowball method, whereby you rank all your loans or all your credit in order of the smallest amount to the largest amount, and you start paying off the smaller amount once until you are done with the rest. And one of the ways you can actually motivate yourself when it comes to debt repayment is to see the end of it as you getting a raise or you giving yourself a raise in terms of your income. Because now you had all this money that was tied up in the different debts that you have. Once you have paid all of them up, there is actually this nice sizable amount of money that comes back in your pocket, and you can then channel it to other areas of your life. So if you see it as a way of saying, I will free up, for example, a 5,000 a month, and this will be like a raise on top of my salary because it was not money that I had at my disposal before, then it can even motivate you further to quickly or as soon as possible for you to pay off your debt. The fourth money move that you want to make in your 30s is for you to increase your income. And you want to increase your income because it is the fastest way for you to actually grow wealth. You can only save and invest as much as you earn. You cannot save and invest more than you earn. It has to be from what you are earning, from the different sources of income that you have. So increasing your income is the fastest way that you can actually get to your financial goals and to get to your financial freedom if you are somebody who is interested in financial freedom. I know that people say cash is king, which is okay, but cash flow is queen. And you cannot have a king without a queen. So focus on the queen, make sure that you increase your sources of income and you are increasing your cash flow, because it's only from that cash flow or from that income that you are actually going to be able to save more and to invest more. If you are somebody who is employed, you can consider negotiating your salary, asking for a raise. You can consider switching jobs or switching industries. Or if you are someone who is business-minded, you can start a business. It does not have to be a small business. Or you can start a side hustle on top of your full-time job or whatever it is that you are able to do. What is important is that you are finding different ways to earn more money, whether it's more money on an existing salary or whether it's more money on an existing business, or it is for you to start something new that can actually generate that money, then you are good. So it doesn't matter how you do it. Different things work for different people. If, for example, you are employed and you are netting 300,000 a year, if your employer gives you a 10% raise on that net of 300,000, you are actually going to end up having an extra 30K added to your income each year. And that is a lot of money. If you manage to invest that money over a 10-year period with an 8% return, that is $435,000, which you will have aside in terms of your wealth. That is nearly $500,000 over a 10-year period of you just putting aside your additional income that you got from your employer in terms of a 10% raise. And that is a lot of money. All in all, we cannot budget our way to millions. Yes, budgeting is important. We need that consistency. We need to know where our money is going. But like I said earlier, you can only save and invest as much as you earn. So budgeting alone is not enough to get you to that wealth building that you are craving for. You actually have to increase your cash flow. You have to increase your income so that you are able then to build wealth with that additional money that you are getting from your different sources of income. The fifth move that you want to make in your 30s is actually to max out your retirement contributions. And you want to do this because your retirement money is your future paychecks or your future income. You are going to eventually have to live off from this money. So you want to make sure that your retirement contributions are maxed out. And I want you to see this as the younger you actually taking care of the older you. So the young Les is now taking care of the older Les. You want to ensure that the older Les or the older you is given the best life possible or the best life that money can buy. And it's a big responsibility. You now have to make sure that when you are retired or when you are in your old age, you are not struggling financially, you are living comfortable, your needs are covered, and you do not lack for anything because the younger version of yourself actually made that provision for you. So if you are employed, make sure that your employer provided pension funds, for instance, are maxed out. If your employer gives a match, take advantage of the match. If your employer does not have a pension fund or you are not employed, you are working for yourself, look into other retirement annuities that are provided by independent providers and you can contribute and max those out. If you have a tax-free savings account, make sure that every year contribute the allowable amount for the year and you max it out each single year. You do not want to miss out on that interest-free growth and interest-free dividends and all the good stuff when it comes to your tax-free savings account. If by the age of 30, you put aside $3,000 every month towards your retirement accounts and each year you are getting an 8% return on that money, by the time you are 50, you will have a 1.6 million that is waiting for you in your older age. So you can even decide to retire early because you have made provision for that money to look after you at a time when you are much older and you do not need to worry about money in your retirement. The sixth money move that you want to make in your 30s is to actually invest beyond retirement. Yes, retirement contributions are good, but they are long-term. But you also want to ensure that you have medium-term wealth-building money goals and not only invest for retirement. So this is you making sure that your money is working twice as hard for you, not only for the retirement age, but also money that you can access before your actual legal retirement age. So if you decide to retire at the age of 45, then you can have access to the money that you have invested, which has nothing to do with your retirement age. And this is where your discretionary investments are coming in. And as part of your discretionary investments, you want to consider investing in the stock market. Whatever it is, the asset classes that you invest in the stock market with, whether it's ETFs, whether it's index funds, whether it's crypto, whether it's individual stocks, whether it's REITs, it's up to you. But take advantage of getting into the stock market. The stock market is known to beat inflation. And you also want to consider investing in rental property, because rental property, apart from the income that they are giving you, they are also known as a hedge against inflation. So your money does not end up losing so much value because you are investing in asset classes that are actually working the opposite of inflation. The seventh money move that you want to make in your 30s is for you to protect your income. Remember what I said earlier at the beginning of the video, that in your 30s you are moving from earning and spending to building and protecting when it comes to your wealth. So here you want to make sure that the wealth that you have built in the other moves that we have mentioned, you are now protecting that wealth. So here you are looking at protecting your assets so that your assets can serve you for the longest time while you are still here on this planet. For yourself, which is your biggest asset, you want to get term life insurance or the full life insurance. Especially if you are dependent, you want, when something happens to you, you want there to be funds that will look after them. But if you do not have dependents, or you are at a point of your wealth where you do not need to have life insurance to cover your loved ones, your assets are enough, maybe you have a trust fund which your loved ones can access, then you do not need to take out life insurance. Also look into having health insurance for yourself, having disability cover and dread disease cover. Those can help you if something goes wrong in terms of your health. Also look at having your will drawn up if you don't already have one. If you have one which you put away 5 years ago, re-look at it. Maybe something in your life has changed and you want to make an update to it, especially when it comes to beneficiaries, but also when it comes to your assets. Maybe your assets have grown or you have diversified in terms of your investments. You want to make sure that those things are actually covered. Also have a medical directive. In case something goes wrong again when it comes to your health, you need somebody else to be able to make decisions for you. And since we are living in a digital age, you also want to make sure you protect your passwords and you protect your important documents. And for your property, look into getting insurance for your home, insurance for your vehicle, insurance for your business property and assets and equipment if your business has equipment, so that if something happens, then your business is covered and then you don't end up starting from scratch and losing all the things that you have built. And now for the bonus money move that you want to make in your 30s is for you to get FU money. And with FU money, you want to have FU money so that you have more power to yourself, you have more control, and you have more freedom when it comes to your life. FU money gives you the ability to say no to things and for you to walk away. It also gives you the ability to live your life according to your own values and not allow other people to bully you into doing things a certain way even when you do not agree just because of money. FU money also gives you more control in terms of your time and your energy. You decide and you make the decisions that are best suited for your life and for your values, and not only follow where the money is. So the FU money actually gives you that ability to have more control in terms of what do you get involved in and what you say no to. FU money will allow you to walk out of a toxic work environment. And you know what, talking about toxic work environment, sometimes you really just have a shitty boss, and if you have FU money, you can just decide one day, FU, I am walking out, I'm done. Then you can walk out of that toxic boss or out of that toxic work environment. And your FU money can also help you to walk out of abusive relationships or of relationships that are no longer serving you, be it marriage, be it dating. You can actually say, you know what, I'm done. I have my own money. I can look after myself. I am walking out. So as an adult in your 30s, having FU money is important. Then you are not cornered into certain things, especially when it comes to work environments and when it comes to certain types of businesses. You are not cornered to massage people's big tummies because you really need the money. So it allows you that freedom to say no to something and to walk away without you worrying that tomorrow you have nothing to eat. And you want to consider an FU fund of at least maybe your expenses for a full year or your expenses for 2 years, so that you can figure out what to do with your life while you are still able to take care of yourself within that period of time in which your FU fund can cover you. As you can see from our discussion, your 30s are really a decade of you deciding, and they are a decade of you building your wealth. They are a decade of you protecting what you are building, basically using all the available resources to your disposal to ensure that you build a nice nest egg of wealth for yourself, whether it's for early retirement, whether it's for you to just access that money and travel the world while you are still full-time working, or it's for your retirement age, which is your legal retirement age. It does not matter, but you are building wealth for yourself that you can then decide how you want to live your life. And if you follow this blueprint in your 30s, by the time you are actually in your 40s, you will be much more wealthier, you will be much more secure in terms of your finances, and you will have much more choices. You will be more free to make choices because you have the financial backing from yourself, from the provision that you have made while you are in your 30s, and you are not going to be pushed around. You are able to stand up for yourself and you are able to make the best decisions for yourself because financially you have taken care of yourself. We have come to the end of this video. Tell me in the comments, out of these 7 money moves, which ones have you already made and which ones are you planning to make from next month or from this month or from whenever you want to start? Share in the comments. We would like to hear from you. If you have found value in this video, the best way you can support the channel is to leave a like for the video, subscribe to the channel to join our growing family, but also to share it with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues, because another person might also find the same value in the video. And I'll see you in the next video.